We are legends.
Hello and welcome to We RRR Legends, the unofficial podcast of DC Legends Mobile. With me as always is Hatemael and the world famous Ogre Barbarian.
Hooray!
In this week's episode, we'll discuss the latest news, Gorilla Grodd, Hatemael is going to rage about the PvP system, and some kudos to GrimReaper on his world's finest. So this week we got our first hands-on with Gorilla Grodd, and Hatemael, what were your initial thoughts with him?
Well, I posted a short YouTube video so people could see, and unfortunately, at least at Legendary 1, and I'm going to hold complete judgment until after I've tested him at Legendary 3 or 4, but my initial impression is that he is quite possibly the worst character that they've released.
Wow.
And I hate to say it that way, but I tried so many teams, and I couldn't get anything to work.
Okay.
I know I tried to help you too.
Yeah, Ogre was giving me team ideas, and I was shooting him videos, showing them. And the problem with Grodd is that, and granted, every character does not need to be Etrigan level insanity, but he's obviously a utility character, and
which
I'm
is
fine with
fine.
utility.
Yeah, I mean Constantine is a very good utility character.
Well, and he's also a high damage character. I would say Red Robin's a great example.
Red Robin. Okay, Red
Great
Robin is utility.
I mean, he's a ridiculously good utility character. And granted, Grodd doesn't need to even be on his level because he's one of those insanely powerful characters. And I wouldn't say overpowered. He's just extremely powerful. So one of the things I really liked about Grodd, and I tested with some stun teams, and I actually took at Legendary 1, I took his leadership because I wanted to test the speed ups. And against a weak team, and when Grodd can stay alive for a while, and you get a decent amount of turns, and you get a bunch of stuns in, it works really well because you get a ton of turn meter, and then you're suddenly taking a ton of turns.
Right.
The problem is that it only lasts one turn.
So the speed ups need to last longer than one turn.
Yeah, if the speed ups lasted 2 turns or 3 turns, I think he would actually be an extremely good character, and you might even be able to make Flash very viable, which was one of the things I was hoping to test out with. But because it doesn't last very long, and at level 72, max everything, he dies, he goes down to pretty much 1 life just off 1 roll from Wonder Woman DOJ, which I have a video you'll see where he goes down to 1 life just from 1 roll. I mean, that's a basic attack that shouldn't do that much damage to him. So if he's going to be a utility character, he needs some way to survive. Red Robin can turn invisible. You have other characters that have damage immunity. They have some way to stay alive. And he does have, with one of his legendary upgrades, some agility stacks, but they're only 3, so I don't think it's going to make a big enough difference to matter. The other problem is that he does very little damage. So if he's going to be very squishy, sometimes, like, for example, with Banshee, which I know a lot of people don't really like, but at Legendary 4, I find she's a pretty good character. She hits pretty hard. You can kill... you can kill Power Girl in 1 turn. I mean, I can kill her on turn 1 sometimes if she procs her AoE after removing her damage immunity. So she'll do enough damage, and she has enough utility that I feel like all around she's not an A+ character, but she's definitely not a bad character. Grodd does little damage, is super weak, and his utility doesn't feel like it brings really anything to the team. The speed ups on his leadership are decent, but
I was going to ask, obviously against with the opposite of his affinity, Mystic taking him down, she's doing a lot of damage. Does he hold up any better or fare any better against the other affinities, or it's just all across the board he's just weak?
I mean, I probably have video of it. You're going to see a lot of losses because it seemed like every team I tried he was a liability on the team. Putting him on the team made my team significant. I was basically running with 3 characters. So against a strong team, a 29, 30,000 point team, I typically lost when I ran him on the team. Or I lost everybody but 1 or 2 characters that could kind of hold the team up. I've even had Emerald Archer or Green Arrow almost kill him with a double shot. So to give you an idea how weak he is.
Yeah,
so you would think his utility, and for some reason it seems like the devs really value stuns.
They do,
seems like characters like stun really, pay for it in other attributes. Which, with Catwoman, it kind of makes sense because she's got a lot of other ways to survive. She can do a lot of other things. So, but characters that have AoE or multiple stuns, he's got some utility with that. And I thought maybe because he has a lot of abilities where you can stack a lot of intellect up, but it seems like the intellect up, even when he's got a huge stack and you do his AoE, it still does very little damage. So I thought, okay, maybe the trick to him is get a big stack of intelligence up and then do his AoE and wipe everyone out.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
What okay, so you said you took his leadership. What other legendary buffs does he have? What other legendary perks does he get?
Hold on 1 minute. Let me pull him up.
Is there anything in there that in that kit that you think maybe could just fix him, or is it pretty dim?
I'm skeptical at this point
Mm-hmm.
because the other option, the other thing about him. So it
looks like his first ability, we got steal all intelligence ups on target,
which would be nice against Etrigan. So I thought maybe he'd be a great counter against Etrigan. You steal all those intelligence up. I thought if he got buffed with all these intelligence up, he would be doing Etrigan level damage as energy character.
Sure.
But the problem is he gets all these buffs up and he still does poor damage.
And then the second ability looks like it gives 2 speed ups to all allies, so that actually might work for your flash.
Turn.
Yeah.
The problem is it's only 1 turn. If these speed ups lasted 2 turns, which that one may be 2 turns, but from what I'm told by other people, I think someone else has taken that one. It's only 1 turn. So if that one was more than 1 turn, I think he would be pretty good.
And then we got Gorilla Slam does apply 3 agility ups to the team, so that can make him a little bit tougher, but 3 agility ups isn't going to affect much.
Like 3 doesn't do enough. You got Clayface adding 10.
Right. No, I mean that's my point. That's not going to be enough to make him. It'll help a little, but it's not going to be enough to make him a viable character. What is the legendary for Thirst of Blood, the 4th ability?
That's apply 2 speed ups on self and a random ally. So once again, there's.
So I think back to that speed up. Yeah, that's a lot of speed ups.
So I'm thinking speed ups is his key. Like that's what makes him.
The problem is they don't last long
right, but
enough.
what's his base speed at gear level?
It's not fast. His base speed
like
is
90 something.
Yeah, it's a little more than that. It's 110.
110. Okay.
So
yeah, like
he's not fast to start, so he needs the speed ups to be on par with the other faster characters.
Well, yeah, like 2 speed ups make him faster than Reverse Flash, I think.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's what I'm going to go with. My next 2 upgrades, I'm going to take the speed ups before I even take the intelligence up or anything to see if that is what makes it. But I really think he's going to need a 2 turn. Those speed ups need to be 2 turns for him to be, an above average character. I think.
If he's going to be that weak, he needs the speed ups to actually make him viable on their teams. And even then, if he's weak enough to where you can take him out with basically one well placed Wonder Woman crit, then that nullifies him instantly.
Well, that was my other challenge with him, is that to make him viable, you need a lot of other stunners to get the speed ups, but you can't run because the other stunners are energy characters, so you're going to be running an energy heavy team.
The vast majority of them are energy. There are several that people forget about, like Aquaman, King of Atlantis, can stun on his trident. Bane has stun. Catwoman has stun. There are a handful of other stunners, but again, the problem is a lot of them are energy.
Well, and then the other thing with Catwoman, I did run a lot of teams with Catwoman. I tried. I did use Aquaman. Ogre was giving me characters. Bane doesn't work for me, and his stun is kind of his stun is a little more gated than some of the other characters. So I wanted, but the problem is the best stunners, which are like Hawkgirl and Killer Frost, you could stun multiple times in a match. Their other energy, which is fine, but you almost need him to be hidden behind multiple stunners multiple taunters like Clayface and who's another energy character.
Shazam.
Which I was running Shazam a decent amount, and Shazam stuns as well, which but the thing is he's a low stun chance, and you can't get. That's the other challenge I had with him, is because he does so little damage. Shazam does little damage. That sometimes you'll end, if you can keep Grodd alive, even you'll end the match with Grodd and Shazam, and then you can't kill anybody. So there was I had a lot of issues making those teams work.
Ogre, were you able to? Is he high enough for you to be using him yet, or have you experimented
I
with him at all?
have R4.
Okay. Have you experimented
So
with it at all and found the same same
I
conclusion?
haven't. No, I've been focused on getting Banshee up.
Sure.
I haven't done him yet.
Okay.
Like I was really heavily debating on whether or not I wanted to because I love stun teams.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to do that when I got finished with my bleeds, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just transition into incorporating some of them already. And it didn't work out. And then I was talking to Hatemael, and he was saying how mediocre he was, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just hold off. I don't know yet.
Well,
So I kind of on the fence right now because I was really excited about Grodd
Yeah, we
because
shared-
that was the one I pitched
I was
when I went to
excited
WB.
about Grodd as well.
So
Yeah, I mean, we shared some of this feedback with Standard to see if she could share it with the devs, but, you know, maybe because then, like Dr. Fate, people were real unhappy with his rework, and they did a couple little tweaks, and then he became a pretty good character. So maybe
did they tweak him at all? I don't.
Yeah, they did. There was some silent buffs, remember, to his base damage.
I don't think that there was any changes to Dr. Fate. I could be wrong. I thought it was somebody
Yeah.
else that got the work tweaks.
Dr. Fate got a rework. People.
I know Ramen got tweaks.
No, Dr. Fate definitely did because I had ranked him up and geared him out right during the rework, and he initially started off terrible, and then like a couple weeks later, after a lot of outcry, they boosted his damage where I went from not being able to hardly damage a green to one-shotting them with his 3.
Okay.
I distinctly remember that.
Hmm.
All right, so for now, Gorilla Grodd.
So there is still hope.
Yeah, he may if he gets a buff to his defense and maybe a little bit of a kick in his
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him
in
would
his
be
damage.
you know, maybe a little bit, some way to defend himself or a little bit of life, and then make his
Speed ups
his
last
buff
another
last
turn.
a little longer, more than one turn. I think those would be some good tweaks that could make him. But he might be better at Legendary 3 or 4. So I'm reserved judgment. I mean,
Okay.
we shared the feedback. We never know what the designers will decide is good. Maybe they've internal tested and they discovered that he is good, but at higher legendary levels.
Something that I want to suggest, possibly, is that when they're creating characters, they do kind of a point buy system where a stun is really valuable. You know, and it's just, I don't know if maybe they're overvaluing stuns in that aspect by accident, you know, maybe.
Hmm.
Because it seems like all the stunners kind of got in that same line, you know.
Right. They're
Well,
all-
I mean, Hawkgirl's not bad. She's not great. Like, I'm
Well, no,
not
no, but
overly-
she just got reworked. That's what I'm saying. Her and
Yeah.
Killer Frost initially not so good. Now that they've been reworked, they're a lot better.
especially
So
Killer
maybe
Frost.
it is that they overvalue stun a little bit. You know, I don't know. They worry about giving a character too much
Mhm.
when it has a stun, because all of a sudden you create a character that has all these speed ups, can stun you constantly, and now you can't do anything, and you're just pissed off. Like, I get where they're coming from. They just want to play it really safe because you have to walk on eggshells when you're playing with stuns.
Yeah, no, I can understand.
Like, I do want to throw that out there. I mean, I don't want to say that they're doing a bad job, because obviously they're not. They do great work on these characters 98% of the time. And again, like you said, he's only L1 right now, so there is still hope for him. And I just, you know,
Well, I
Let's
think
hold
that
off
theory
on-
does hold a lot of water because look at Superboy. He was the only other new character that I really wasn't impressed with at all, and he's a
right, and
stunning.
he had multiple stuns in his kit.
Yeah,
Hmm.
You know, like, it makes me wonder how highly valued stuns are, because they don't want to overpower those characters. It's really tricky to balance stun capable characters. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. Maybe I don't know.
Well, Hate, let's take some of that disappointment and turn it into your rage. What is it you wanted to tell us about the PvP system? What's got your
Well, I wanted to bring up Duloth had, and I'll find it and put it in the show notes. Duloth had a really good thread that he posted, and as you all remember, he was on our show a couple weeks ago. And for those of you that might be listening to the show for the first or second time, he's also a streamer, plays a whole lot, real popular in the community. But anyway, he made a post talking about the PvP point system and how basically it really punishes the whole system. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but the whole system really punishes you for the more you gear characters, the more you're punished. There really is not a lot of incentive to expand and gear out your roster because when you look at how many points you get per match, and we've kind of beat this to death in the past with the star system where you get the, like right now, most of my boards, if I pull up my board right now, I look at it and I have 1, 6 to 9, the rest is 3 to 6. And I noticed, and I read Dulas' post, and he made a lot of really good points where he talked about, basically your red alerts get harder, and once you reach a certain bridge of Gear 11 characters, you stop getting a lot of points, and it's very difficult for you to keep up with characters that have weaker rosters. If you've been a smart player and you've geared out some of the, what we would call the meta characters, and you don't have a really expanded roster, you're still getting a lot of those 8 to 14, the occasional 13 to 20. And even if we have a free-to-play player on our alliance, who I've talked about many times, World Bear, he makes top 100 almost every week without spending any gems or buying any gems. He's free-to-play completely. And he almost never buys PvP refreshes. So he's cautious about his matches. Even if he doesn't 3-star, he's still getting, 13 points, which is, almost 2.5 wins for me. And a lot of these matches, because I get paired against really hard matches, a lot of hard meta teams, especially these stupid Superman teams. It seems like I always lose at least one character, sometimes 2. So those matches I'm meaning 3. My RNG. Everybody knows my RNG isn't great. So, Swamp Thing will always one-shot any green that I have on a team. It doesn't matter who they are, except for maybe Clayface, and even then, barely holds up. So, so I found I was pushing to get top 100 in Grodd, and I thought I was safe. And then PvP really kicked into high gear on Monday, and then I got stuck late at work, so I got home, and I was I think I was rank 112 when I got home, and I was like, all right, well, I'm only like 200 points, 150 points away, and I couldn't climb fast enough. It was impossible. People were climbing faster than I could possibly win matches, and you would think with a giant ultra geared roster that I should be able to climb faster than the average minimal pay to win, or minimal rostered teams, but it's just not possible when you're only getting 3 to 6 points. So I really got frustrated then to get in the top 100, to be able to climb at a speed that's slightly faster than everyone else. I had to basically just go to refresh my board over and over and over, taking on the 1 or 2 20k or below teams that I would get on my board that I could kill ultra fast. Because PvP now, it takes a long time to win matches. So for me to win a full match and get my 3 to 6 points, I'm probably only a hair faster than somebody who's lower tier, lower geared, because they're usually matched against players that maybe aren't quite as high, or some maybe slightly lower, maybe middle, but they're getting 2 and 3 times the amount of points. So it really just kind of irked me that if you're going to be a heavy spender on the game, you really shouldn't be punished. You at least should be on equal footing, if nothing else.
Do you have any idea on anything's been proposed in that post about how to fix the current PvP system so that it is more fair and you're not getting left behind by the teams that have not filled out their rosters?
I think one of the best solutions he proposed, and you see it in the new PvP modes, they have a static point system.
Yeah, just 3-3-3.
Yeah, it's 3-6-9. So I really feel like
3 points for each. 3 points for each star. So you can get up to 9, or you can get as little as 3. And that just depends on how many you lose. Yeah, I think that might actually be a better system and more accurately depict what should be going on.
Something else. Like I want to just defense log. It literally doesn't matter anymore. Is another thing that has changed.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was actually helping Wales stay up because they were just so hard to defeat. They were getting defensive wins constantly and help boost their score a little bit. And it just seems like it doesn't even matter now.
Well, now that they got rid of boosting, we went back to where you get more points on defensive wins. I think that would help greatly. Have either a static system, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a static system, because I do think that if you're 24,000 team and you're taking on a 31,000 team and you manage to eke out a win, you probably should earn a little bit more. But another idea I had, that would kind of help in the whale category is maybe get some trophies for clearing your board as a bonus reward.
Yeah. There you go.
So if you're clearing your whole board, you can get if you're been able to clear the entire board, get a
Take
bonus.
out the shards, give us some more trophies.
Or even keep the shards and just give us some more trophies. Just add that as
Well, I
part
mean,
of your.
here's something that I would suggest. This is just me, because I know how it is as an FTP. Like, sometimes you're not gonna be able to clear your board. Like, no matter what you do, you're not gonna be able to clear.
Yeah.
Why not take the shards and make them every 10 wins, you get the shards. But if you clear your board, you get extra trophies. That seems fair.
Yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with that solution too.
Does seem fair.
Because that allows both sides to still collect the shards, and then it also benefits those who can clear their boards who have strong enough rosters. So, which I think is, where we need to draw that line is because people that, like even myself, I have a hard time climbing and I still get slightly more points than you do, but like it still is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that you shouldn't discourage people. And we even see it when we have these conversations now. We're discouraging people from ranking up characters with high power scores, and you're actively discouraging people from paying more money to gear out your characters. So
I mean, this is clearly a product of the response to the PvP. Because remember, just a short time ago, we were having discussions about how PvP was broke and there was people that were boosting, and now the response has been overwhelmingly the other direction, to where now it benefits you to not expand your roster and not max level your guys, your tunes. So they got to kind of find that happy medium, and I'm not sure. I don't think that it's a bad idea. I think it's a pretty good idea to go with the static point system is a good way to do it. The board clear is not bad, but we got to be careful. We don't want to weigh it too heavily the other way. I don't think either one of those would weigh it too heavily the other way. Obviously.
And I don't even think the star system before. I was really happy with the implementation of the star system because it felt like it would, kind of push more towards a happy median with that. But I didn't think the spreads did not. The spreads weren't what I was hoping they'd be. I think they need to be closer to each other. They're still too far apart.
What if the stars were based off of the level of the team you were fighting? So, for instance, a max level team, what's the highest you can get? 31,000?
Yeah, I like that idea too. That was another idea that
so no
matter
matter
one point.
So no matter what, if you fight a 31,000 power level team, that team is always going to be worth 18 or the max amount of stars. If you defeat them without losing any of your players, I don't care if you have a 31,000 power level team, or if you have a 200 power level team. Like, no matter what, they're going to be worth that. That would even it out, because then you would not run into the problem of having you wouldn't run into the problem of having too high of a level team, and all you're getting is 3 to 6 for your
Well,
time.
I almost think that would disproportionately go the other way, because I only get like 90. The matchmaking right now, I only get, like, if I look at my board right now, I have 1, 2, 3 21,000 teams. Everyone else is 28,000 or above.
Right.
So I would get almost all super high power teams, and I would have a monster advantage over free to play, because
Not necessarily, because I look at my board. I can look at my board, and I have anywhere from 22 to 28,000 teams too.
And don't forget, those 28,000 level teams that you're fighting are going to take you longer to defeat than me going through and getting 3 to 6 for my 21,000 level teams. If I'm going through and just crushing those, I'm going to be able to do 2 or 3 of them compared to you doing your higher level teams. So it would kind of even it out.
Well, but once again, you would have to buy more refreshes. I mean, I like the idea personally as well, but
no, I mean, I'm just saying if that's how they choose to play, that doesn't shouldn't hurt the company at all. I'm sure they're happy with that.
Here's an idea for you, and this might sound really, really wonky, but it does benefit the Gear 11s a little bit more. But kind of that's the point, right? Is like, you want to reward those players that have gotten to that point. What if the power level of the opposing team was your maximum score divided by 1,000, obviously? So, like, if you have a 31,000 team, you get 31 points if you get all 3 stars.
Oh, wow.
And then if you get 2 stars, you get 2/3 of that. So you get 20 points. And then if you get 1 star, you get 1/3 of that, which is 10 points.
Okay. Well, I mean,
And
that's
then, obviously,
it's
at
basically
each power level, depending, if you can beat a 30,000 team with a much lower team, that's fine. But it doesn't punish the players who have a 31,000 team.
Yeah, it's very similar to what Slow was saying.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing I said. You just increased the trophy level, which is just going to change the numbers from 18 to 30 is all you did. You just changed it, which that's basically what I was proposing. So if you reach a certain power level, your trophies are always worth the max amount, and then the 2800 team, their trophies are always worth whatever amount, and so on and so forth. Down to the lower teams would be 3 to 6 would be the lowest.
And that's just what.
It's basically the same thing. You're just putting different numbers on it, changing the trophies to reflect the power level, which, either way, it's the same thing. The only difference being that now if I kill, instead of getting 18 trophies, I'm getting 30. You're just increasing the maximum trophy level for the top 100 at that point.
Right, but this will also allow players who can climb or who are willing to climb the ability to do so. You're not going to get stuck in sidekick just because you can't gain enough points fast enough. I don't know.
I think.
Yeah, I don't really honestly care what the solution is. I just want to see a solution that doesn't punish you for gearing out characters.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I'm starting to see some of the problems you're talking about. I haven't been climbing in the top 100, but I'm want to start climbing back into the top 100, and it's a daunting task whenever I look at it and see how, like you said, how long it takes me to complete a match whenever it's a higher power level team. How many trophies do I get from this lower power level team? I know exactly the things you're talking about, not to the degree that you're talking about. I'm kind of probably in that sweet spot right now where I could climb pretty effectively. My board's still pretty tilted in my favor for the most part, but I can see the problems and I understand what you're talking about. Speaking of climbing top 100, we'd like to give some kudos to GrimReaper. He climbed all the way to World's Finest. And this is the second week in a row that we've had an owl as the world's finest. Is that correct, Hate?
Yes, that is. We had CR Rhino the weekend before. And I gotta say, we had Miller Time and number 3, and I think Danny probably wasn't happy because either he was happy, he was trolling, or he wasn't happy because he got the 8,000 points, and I think GrimReaper was a little over 9,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an expensive endeavor. And then when I posted some video in Alliance chat of Grodd, he was very upset that he spent 9,000 points on Grodd. So hopefully Grodd can be better.
Yeah.
But it's Grodd. You have to do it anyway.
It's Grodd. I mean,
you got to do it anyway.
Yeah. So he definitely got. He did a ton of I can't even imagine doing 9,000 points of PvP. I mean, that's insane. That's insanity. I
feel like he probably lost a good portion of his life.
He's definitely got a few more gray hairs.
He doesn't need Hot Girl at all, which I don't either, thank God. So he's definitely going to take it well-deserved easy this week. So we'll see if there's an owl who wants to step up and be number 1 this week. But we wanted to have him on the podcast this week. He had to do some stuff with his family. So he's probably... We're hoping maybe we'll have him next week so he can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll try to get him on and have a discussion about how many hours did he put in. He actually got to 9,000 exactly. pretty early, because I remember looking at it and checking and saw that he was up that high. And so I'd like to hear how he planned that out. And
yeah, he pretty much did nothing on Monday. I think Danny gave up because he just kind of sat at 8,000 something, and hopefully within the next week we plan to release a patron only episode. Patrons, if you want to send us any topics or questions that you're interested in hearing about, please send them our way, and we will be sure to cover that topic. And we really appreciate all your support. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron and get a special show each month, our special Q&A episode. It's only $1 to have access to this. Check it out at patreon.com, WeRRR Legends.
Thanks for listening. You're not going to say anything?
We are legends.